want to welcome everybody to Choey and Jandler's The Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour. Welcome, Choey.
Welcome, Jandler. There we go. This is a pop.
You didn't make the sound effects by yourself this time.
No, because I had something that actually pops.
Yeah.
Just, I know we were talking about it right before we came on, and I did like the very horrible little faux pas answer that I can't stand when I ask people questions and they give it to me. Where you give me a choice and I'm like, yes. You're all, no. Is it which one? Which one of the two choices? Do you want to do this or that? Yes.
Yes. Well, that's like me. Although when I did that, was it college? When someone asked, "Why are you wearing 3D glasses?" I just heard them ask, "Are you wearing 3D glasses?" So that's why I answered yes at the time. And you said that girl looked at you and you're like, "I don't know. I don't get it."
He's on drugs. Who knows?
Who knows this guy? Right?
He's wearing 3D glasses right now in public. That's all you need to know.
I didn't link it here, but all right. It's November 24th. Kind of going a little backwards order here. This is Black Friday, but it's also Buy Nothing Day. Doesn't that that's like counterproductive there when you think about it?
Yeah.
It's Black Friday, National Black Friday Day. Go buy whatever, but it's also National Buy Nothing Day. So refrain from spending money, people. It's
I think
a little fight going on here.
I think they've taken care of that though, because they do Black Friday sales as soon as Halloween was over. It's like Black Friday this for the next 4 weeks. And you're like, what?
Did you also know today is Sinkie Day?
I don't even know what that means.
I had to click on the thing before I took the snapshot and look at it. Basically, people eat over their sink, right? It's like, I guess you eat to once you're done, you just wash your dishes. It's just, I don't know. More convenient that way, but it's like, hey, why sit down and watch TV or hang out with your family when you can just eat by the sink? Just keep that in mind.
It's weird.
Have you ever done that?
Maybe when I'm taking like a bite of something, like if you grab like a chip with some dip and you don't have a plate, you grab it like one, but not like a whole meal.
Sometimes I've eaten at my what do you call it? Like the stool top area, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the bar top area. But I just do that just because I listen to music or whatever, and I don't feel like watching TV, so I'll do that. But I never thought about hey, let me do this so I can just wash my dishes real quick.
Yeah, it's kind of. They probably do that, and then they're able to wash their dishes with their tears as they cry themselves. I'm so lonely.
Did you ever listen to Daniel Tosh, like some of his stand up?
Yeah.
There was one he was like, I think people should eat on the toilet. Like you eat backwards because you'd have like a rest for your food and then you'd be able to just dispose of it at the same time. It's just like, all right, dude.
I don't know. I don't know how appealing that would be. If you smell your own poop while you're eating, you probably would ruin some of those meals. This used to be my favorite dish, but now I just associate it with the smell of crap.
Yeah, just like Mom used to make. Anyway, so I was just telling you, one of the reasons we obviously would have been in person. That was our original plan. Man, those little boogers got me sick, man. I've been telling teachers last week before we hit break. I was like, man, I think it's coming. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I just feel like I'm on the edge of getting sick. And then dude, the last 2.5 days, I've pretty much been we talked Monday and I woke up feeling aching all over. You ever get the flu? You ever ache all over?
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was any kind of movement was just painful. And I had a headache and stuff. But then I got over it Monday until lunchtime. And then it hit, and then just picked back up. And then yesterday, all day yesterday, just pretty much just was like, dude, I don't feel like doing anything. And so it's not a big deal. It ruined my workout routine, but I was trying to do some of that Mac GT stuff this week. And I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing anything yesterday or Monday. And I was watching I don't know if you see on Amazon Prime, it's called Bye Bye Barry. There's a Barry Sanders documentary.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was watching that last night, and another reason I knew I was sick is I just kept sweating throughout the whole thing. How you have a fever, I guess. And I'm watching the show just sweating and being like, man, keep drinking water or whatever. So those kids, man, I think I've told you before though, it's hard for me to react. They'll sneeze on me and I'll be like, oh, And then they'll be asking me something. Mr. Bing, like, hold on. Mr. Bing has to go wash this off and put on some hand sanitizer, kids. No, no boundaries.
They sneeze on you. You go, oh yeah. And you spit on them. You're like, how you like it? How you like it? Quit crying.
What? I think I told you when a kid threw up last year on the field trip, I was more scared that all these other kids were just going to start having sympathy vomit, and just start throwing up too. To where the whole bus would have been covered in vomit. Luckily, that didn't happen. But
you come off the thing. It was horrible. It was horrible. There was vomit everywhere.
It's like that Seinfeld, George Costanza's dad is a Korean War story or whatever.
Oh yeah.
When they were all throwing up, it was like, oh yeah, I sent 3 guys to the latrine. But luckily, I haven't thrown up, man. When that streak's still going, I started that one again. I haven't been, as last time I threw up was last year when I had food poisoning. I mean, I've been good since then. So
there's bulimic and anorexic people everywhere that are jealous of you.
Really? Well, we talked about us teachers, we don't like to use our sick days for when we're actually sick, Yeah. So it's nice to not be nice that I'm feeling bad now. I didn't have to go to school because that would have sucked. But it's also nice not to waste a sick day.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks like that when you're like, you have those extended vacations and you take it up with time where you're just like, But whatever's.
Yeah. But I did pick up the class mascot today.
What is the
class mascot? Well, so we've had a hamster every year, ever since I've been teaching. We used to have Region 20, right? Yeah, I would get a free hamster from Region 20, and I would get the cage and everything, right? And then at the end of the school year, I would do a drawing and give the hamster away to a student.
Oh, okay.
Right?
You kind of worried me a little bit when your story started with we get a hamster every year. I'm like, damn, so it dies every year?
Yeah. Well, the hamster only lasts about 2 years, man. So it's if it goes to 3 years, you're like, woo. But this year, I didn't know this. My district's not part of Region 20 anymore, right? I guess they got tired of paying for that extra thing or whatever, right? And so at that point, I'd already told the kids we'd already earned our class pet. And so then I'm like, well, now I can't not do it. So I went and did it. They kept asking, we didn't probably earn it till around Halloween time. And then I was just kind of well, let me wait till payday for November. And then once it kind of happened, I was like, man, we're so close to Thanksgiving. I was like, I might as well just wait till after Thanksgiving. So I went and got the hamster today. Dude, putting the cage together is it's kind of cool. Whenever I get it fixed, I got the regular cage done, but they got a top part where they got a house. It's like a yellow walls and a red roof, right? And I can put these tubes that go up to the house. I gotta figure out how to get the roof on the house. That's what's annoying me. But it'll look cool. It's gonna be a pain when it's time to clean, because you have to clean the cage every week, Yeah. So you have to take that stuff off, but it's But I bought the little hamster and it was in its little carrying case for a while. As I'm trying to put the cage together. It's just a nightmare, man. It's it'd be nice if the stuff just came already constructed.
You should get
or if the tabs actually worked to connect it a lot better.
You should get a pet class rattlesnake, and then be like, the kid that messes up the most in the year takes the class pet home at the end of the year.
Dude, I hate snakes.
So do I.
I think I hate it more than you hate snakes.
They're horrible.
They are horrible. Actually, and when we earned the class pet, kids were talking about It's oh, you should get a lizard, you should get a snake, you should get a hamster, whatever. When I got my haircut the other day, I was telling the lady, I always want to call it Barbarette, but I mean, the hairdresser, about the class pet. She was like, oh, what are you gonna get? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a hamster. And I was like, kids kind of wanted a snake. And she's like, "What's wrong with that?" And I was like, "I can't." I was like, "I hate snakes, and I don't want the kids to know I hate snakes because I don't want them trying to pull a prank on me. I'm just not gonna get a snake. They don't need to know that I'm scared to death of snakes. It doesn't help me out at all." So
you like show like one episode like we're running from the fire. You're like snake. You just throw them at the snake. Bite them instead. Bite them instead.
Well, like at least luckily I'm not like you. I don't run into them a lot.
Yeah.
There was I did have a teacher who, because when we had Region 20, you could get a snake. You could check them out for like 2 weeks, and like one couple of the teachers I worked with, they liked snakes. And this one lady, she came in with it was like a big boa or something, right? And she had it around her neck. And she walked in, and I didn't even know. I turned around and I saw her, and I like, dude, I did like a Matrix, kind of like like lean back real quick, and I was just like, get out. I think like because she was like right here, like face to face, and I like Matrixed it and got away super fast. I was like, hey, you gotta leave. And she's like, oh yeah, I forgot you hate snakes. I was like, hate isn't even the right word. It's like, no, you got to go. So I'm afraid to punch that snake. So.
you just like start beating it up, like bunch of they're like, it's a nice one. It wasn't even gonna do anything. You're like, it won't now.
Snake's like, I didn't even do anything. I'm gonna hit you now. I'm gonna bite you now, though. I was gonna leave you alone before, but
dude, I got a picture I wanted you to see. Like, so we're at the doctor's this morning with one of my kids doing their checkups, and like those. I guess it was like the mood bracelets or the mood rings where they put the heat on it.
Yeah.
And it changes the colors, right? And so they had like this little paint, like a painting, like picture frame type thing. And so I decided to put. Can you?
Yeah, is that like a fingerprint?
No, this is a big thing that like is probably as big as your torso. Those are. That's my covered. Like I kept my pants on. Well, that's my butt. And then I was like, and I took a picture of it and sent it to the wifey. And I was like, check it out. They have this little thing where like if you put your hands on it, it like helps. So it was like you put your hands, it's like green and blue and whatever. And I was like, I wonder. So I like leaned on it. Like there it is. But then I was like, crap. I had to like wipe my hands on it like this. I wanted like the doctor come in and be like, really?
Yeah. What does that test though? It just test like.
I think it's just something for the kids to play on while they're there.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I'm the one that played on it.
It's not for you, sir. You're like, whoops. It'd be funny if he comes in and he or she, and you're like pulling your pants up. You're like, well, I didn't expect you back so quick.
Oh, what is that? I'm like, don't worry about
it. Yeah. This last thing here, we talked about this before. Let's talk training and time wasters and buzzwords that us teachers and stuff like to use, man. I know I did it a lot when I was doing that science reading last year, because I had to do so many posts, right? So many like replies that I just do, hey, what's the certain word or what's a couple words I use in these, like in this little video I watched? Let's just throw them out there. And it'll sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I just get through this,
The thing is, like, there's so much crap with, and I know we've talked about it before, but there's so much crap with training is that it's like, what do you expect people to really put out as far as like quality product when you yourself are training them in the way, the modality that you don't want them to teach? Like, no, it's just one of those things like that you're like, hey guys, this is how you need to teach. Not the way I'm doing it, but this is how you need to do it. And I'm going to model exactly the opposite of what you should do. And it's like, what?
Exactly. Hey, cheers to that, man. That's just so annoying. It's like I told you about, and you're kind of the one for your district that has to oversee the MAC GT training. I get whoever came up with that training is trying to create some accountability or whatever, but it's like you overloaded it with just extra stuff, man. It's like I want to, now maybe I'm in that minority right now. I want to watch the videos and actually learn so I can use stuff in class, not listen to the videos and then go, well, I got to take this quiz now, or now I got to, and I told you I don't have to take like 30 quizzes or something just to finish one module. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I get other stuff going on in my life. I'm a teacher, you know.
That's the thing that sucks too. Is like you got all these stuff that goes on, and they try to teach you all this stuff, and nobody knows what that stuff means. Like I could talk about the perennial lobe and the cerebrum and the whatever synovial fluid within your spinal column. I have no idea really what that crap means. I can say
But you are a doctor. Remember, you
not that.
have to know something about it. You're a doctor, Dr. Triviani.
You know what's crazy though is like that it wasn't even until like I was older and I thought about doing the whole doctor thing. Because before that, like I truly thought, like in my early 30s, like when you see like these people high up in like the food chain in like districts and they're doctor so and so. I was like thinking like doctor, like medical doctor. And I was like, they just decided they wanted to do teaching instead. And
they're like, I had enough with surgery and dealing with kids and whatnot. Let's just go to school.
Well, that's just give up medicine and you want to go to education. All right, sounds good. I mean, we got smart people leading the train until I realized, oh,
there was and now this memory is going to be so bad because that was vague memory. But I remember in high school, I think one of our teachers was telling us they knew somebody that was like high up in business and gave it all up because they wanted to be a teacher. And we were like, what the hell would you do that for? Like you're making like 6 figures and you want to like be around high school kids. But that was their dream.
Probably
well, power to you, I guess, right?
Probably until they hit that dream and they realized I made a mistake.
Yeah.
But I think assistant principals was actually I think Dr. Eula.
Dr. J?
Yeah. And so I was like, that's cool.
Possibly, but no, I mean, like I also like we had you guys voting day was just regular for you, right? Yeah. So I told you we had voting day was a teacher PD day, and so we had trainings and stuff. But those PD days, and I think I've whined about this before, is like they'll teach us stuff, they'll go over stuff, but it's kind of a lot of ways a waste of time because we don't get a chance to work on it. You know, like they might teach us, hey, you can do this when you're lesson planning, or you can do this in your blended learning playlist or whatever, right? But then we don't get time to work on the playlist. So it's like you just taught us something. So really what you're doing is you're just adding extra stuff to us and we never get a chance to like work on it. So it just keeps piling up, you know? And I'm just like, man, I would have rather I was so mad. I wanted half that day to at least be mine so I could put in grades, you know, data, some of those things that like I have to do, you know, but wasn't meant to be, I guess, you know, not that day anyway. So on that sad note, let's take a quick breather, all right, dude? And we'll come back and do our toast. No, what I was saying is like, unfortunately, no new countries. Yes, Choey, they're all wearing clothes. They're not nude.
No nude countries.
Well, we never know. Maybe they aren't wearing clothes. Maybe they're on the beach.
Maybe that's a really fun, super terrific happy hour for them.
Maybe it is. It's wintertime in a lot of places except for Australia. It's summertime over there, man.
That's right.
All right, so well, in South Korea as well, man. It's in the South Hemisphere. Actually, Philippines too, man. Now we think of it, there's a lot of people. All right, so let's do our what do they say in Germany, Choey?
Prost.
What do they say in South Korea?
Gunbei.
Brazil.
Saudi.
England.
Cheers, mate.
Australia.
Cheers, mate.
Barbados.
Cheers.
French Canada. Ata Sante. Regular Canada. Cheers, AU. Hoser. Colombia. Salud. Philippines.
Tagay.
Norway.
Skål.
Now, every week, though, I mean, keep looking at it. I still think Flat Choey and Jandler will help us out a little bit, you know?
It'd be fun.
More awareness. It'd be nice. We've talked about this, too. then forget about money. Although it'd be nice to make money doing this. Um, I think it'd just be cool if we had like thousands and thousands of followers. Like I think that'd be awesome.
We'll solve the world's problems like Bill and Ted did.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know what I would do. Like if I was in like that situation, I'd probably be like, really? Like y'all make bad life choices that were your heroes to save the world. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it. But
You're like, all right, you talked me into it, right? I need to see that. Speaking of me, I need to text that teacher and see if she listened to All About the Rubens yet.
all about the Rubens, baby.
She told me she bought some gifts for Christmas. Well, I gave her some Christmas gift ideas, so I was like, cool, sweet. But all right, so I want to end on your list. So let me go ahead and do a teachable moment before we hit the holidays, right? So on this edition of Teachable Moments, and you may know this more as a parent, kids, don't play with your snacks, especially at school. You ever seen kids? Did your kids play with their food when they're little, or even now at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, see, actually, most of the time that I've done third grade and second grade, we have, well, especially also doing second grade, we have specials, recess, and lunch is like all back to back, right? And so kids will take their lunch snack with them to specials. And like sometimes the kids I remember there was one time, this is what gave me the teachable moment. Kid had chips and he's just throwing it up in the air, right? And I'm telling him stop. Don't do that. He's throwing it up in the air, and then he ends up like dropping on the ground and someone steps on it. And I was just like, if you hadn't been throwing it in the air, it wouldn't get crushed. Another time someone was doing that and their bag burst open, right? And there's food all over the ground. And somebody was like picking it up, eating it off the floor. And I was like, dude, stop that. But like, I was like, that's disgusting. It's not even your food anyway. But then the kid that had dropped it and had broken all open was obviously upset. But I'm like, I can't do anything about that. I told you to stop it. I told you to quit throwing it in the air. Hopefully now you learn not to do that in the future. But your kids ever do that at your house when they were little?
Oh no, God no. Whoop their butt. But I know what you're talking about. Like I've seen. I mean, it's more elementary than anything else. Like sometimes you get like those middle school kids, but a lot of times it's like your elementary kids that just want to like that whole bottle flip crap. Like got kids.
Oh, I hate that.
Let me see what I can toss up in the air and land us, or where you're like, it's a meaningless skill.
Well, I just hate that. I hate it because it doesn't take much for the bottle to like break, and then stuff goes everywhere. Like they'll do it with milk cartons. And by the way, I saw something online. There's like a milk carton shortage right now, which is affecting some schools. I don't know I didn't read the article, so I don't know what states are a part, but I guess like they're not being able to have like milk cartons like the same way they used to. So I don't know what those schools are doing. But no, when I see kids with chocolate milk flipping it, I'm like, I told them to stop. And like I've said this before, is like, unlike when we were in school, I explained like, hey, don't do that. Like, don't do that because I don't want this to happen. But I'll see them flip it and then it breaks. And then there's chocolate milk everywhere. And I'm like, or there's regular milk. But I'm like, either way, you can't just wipe it up. We have to go get, cleaner or something because it's going to be sticky as, so it's like, but these kids, they don't understand it until they do it, And they're like, oh.
It just sucks too because you're like, they get this look of like, what? How did that? I'm sorry. How did that happen? And you're like, I told you. Hey, this is what's gonna happen. I'm trying to be nice about it and explain it nicely in a nice even keel tone. And then you go and you do it anyways. You mess up and you're like, why are you mad? It's like,
I like the kids. And this is I like the kids that get syrup over their desks in the morning because they come in late and they're eating breakfast. And then I tell them to clean it up and they just go get a paper towel. And so the desk is still sticky. And I'm like, no, with water, you can just wipe it up with a towel. But anything other than water, you actually got to get one of the wet wipes, people. It's like, you can't, or otherwise it's going to still be bad. Do you spill milk? Oh, heaven forbid you spill milk. I had a kid, I don't know if I told you this. She was like complaining. she's like, it smells like cucumbers on my desk. And I was like, well, maybe you put cucumbers inside there. And she's like, no, I didn't do that. And I was like, well, look, there's not a single student in this class who just went to your desk and pulled out your stuff. And I was like, let me just spill cucumber. Because every now and then we get cucumbers at lunch. And I was like, nobody just put cucumbers in your desk. I was like, so if it smells like cucumbers, whose fault is it? You know, it's like, it's somebody else's fault. It's your fault. But she refused to believe that logic. And I was like, whatever, you know.
You know what, though? There very well could have been some kid who had that idea. And they just got going. They're like, oh, I'm going to go put it in Susie's desk over there and watch her flip out because she's come from.
I don't think these kids aren't that diabolical yet, you know.
If not, you probably give them the idea.
No, because I was just talking to her, and then I talked to her mom. We had a conference on a Friday, and I was telling her mom that story, and her mom's like, she's like, girl. And I was like, shh. So anyway, all right. So that's.
I don't understand why she would do that. Let me just dig in my purse. She's digging through her purse trying to find something. She pulls out like lettuce and stuff. You're all. Wonder where she gets that from.
Well, I do know that kids, and they'll be like, why do we have ants? And I'm like, well, stop leaving food in your desk. And they're like, I don't do that. And you find chips and cookies and stuff in there, and you're like, yeah, this is why we got ants, people. But anyway, so as we wrap this up, as it's nearing the holiday time, Choey, you want to enlighten us on what Choey's thankful for this time of year?
In pure Choey fashion, thankful for a couple of things. Thankful for the time off because I work in an office full of women, and it never fails that at least once a week somebody drops a deuce in like what would be considered like the male's restroom because it's the only one that they know I use. And yet somebody drops a deuce in there and it's not me and it smells. And I can only think they either do it so they can blame it on me.
Yeah.
Because they think that nobody else is going to go in there. But I'm like, every once in a while, y'all still use that one. It's not marked. It's a unisex one. They still use it. But now granted, I have no basis of like fact on this. I don't know if they do the other one too. But I kind of feel like if I was like a female and I wanted to get away with taking a dump at work, go do it in the one that's usually used by the guys. Ain't got to worry about it then. And then
he said that's a unisex bathroom?
Yeah, they're both. I mean, we're in like a little remote or annex building that used to be like a pre-K wing so it had like 4 classrooms.
No, it's like you and I sex. Oh. Maybe you need sex.
But it's and it sits there so it's like it's these 2 classrooms. So they these classrooms would share this restroom in the hallway. These classrooms would share these.
Yeah. So
they're universal, but at the same time, it's kind of understood. Like the one on the other side is the one that girls are using most of the time. The one on the right is the one I use. And so I'm like, somebody's taking a dump, and they're probably trying to blame it on me. It's like, Tribbiani over there and take some wicked deuces.
If there's ever a time you really got to go at school, you're like, I'm gonna hold it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You only live like 10 minutes from home or whatever. Anyway, you should just go home. I'll be back.
But yeah, dude, it's kind of bothers me. But I'm thankful that I don't have to deal with that for at least a week.
Woo!
And I'm also thankful that I don't have to deal with silly work tickets because I get some where kid can't log in, doesn't have access to the programs. I'm like, how long has the kid been in the system? Today? They got nothing they can access. They can't even access the computer. They shouldn't be able to because they don't even have a login account. So no work ticket saying
24 hours, right?
Yeah. Like to create this account, and then once that account gets created, then I can create the other accounts for them to sync into it. It's all good. It's pretty seamless. But don't sit there and be like, kid got here today, they don't have access. Well, yeah, it's not a movie theater. You don't have tickets right away to get in. It's not that.
Front of the line, kid. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, send me a work ticket if the kid's been enrolled for a few days and they're like, hey man, I still don't have access. Yeah, but like if you just show up today, you're not getting nothing. We don't even know that you're staying, Jack.
You reminds me one kid, like I because I deal with second graders, the kids got Chromebooks. What the kids like to do is like if I'm annoyed with you, I shut your computer on you, right?
Oh.
right? And I've seen kids. What I'll do is like I'll shut your computer, and you get upset at me, and so you shut mine harder, and then mine breaks, right? Like my screen, the plasma, whatever. And I've seen that, and then I have to tell my tech guy like what happened, right? But I had one kid. It wasn't exactly like that this year, but he grabbed somebody else's computer, and we teach him don't grab it by the with your thumbs on the screen or whatever. But he grabbed it, and then I was told that he was twisting it, right? Like the screen. So he broke the plasma and stuff in there. And so I had to tell the tech guy, and I was like, this is what happened. I was like, it is not this kid needs a new computer, but it's not his fault. He didn't do it. It's the other kid that was another kid messed with it. Because I was just like, I didn't want one kid to get punished, and I let the other kid's parents know. But we're still into this process where it's like they just replace it. I feel like there should be something for that kid. His parents have to do something, but they don't.
Yeah, that's not cool, man. Like those things, I mean, they're not expensive in the grand scheme of life, but they're not cheap either.
Nah, when you have to buy like however many my school district buys for all the kids, but then it always leads to me having conversations with the students. Like, look, if it's not yours, don't touch it. It's like it's pretty simple. Maybe that's a simple logic. We get older. It's like if it's not yours, keep your hands off of it. But
yeah, but dude, like what sucks though too, and this is, I mean, a couple different school districts, and I've seen that same problem. Like you get teachers that don't care either. They're like, well, the kids just grab whichever one, and you're like, dude, like you're the adult in the system, man. How hard is it to come up with a system where like the first kid gets this one every single time?
Yeah.
Just tell. I mean, kids are if kids are getting the skills that you're teaching them in class, they should be able to memorize. Oh, when I go to your class, I get number whatever. That's what they should be able to figure out if they can.
Yeah. We'll see. Like we like ours are assigned to our kids, like specifically.
Yeah.
And so they have like a sticker with a barcode of their name on it, and then I have a class sticker on it with their class number. Like it's a lot bigger, so they can see that too. But I'm like, this is assigned to you. Like I had a couple kids, and the charges aren't as big a deal, but they're still like $12. I think about 5 of my kids have already lost their charger, and I'm like, we label it every day. Chargers, computers, and I have login cards every day. Those 3 things. I'm like, do I have everybody's? Yeah. If it's on the floor, put it in your cubby. And then the couple times I had subs, like the last time I had a sub, man, on my sub plan, I was like, hey, please make sure you got everybody's login card, right? And the kids know this is what I do every day. I come in the next day, and I was missing 2 or 3 login cards, and I was like, well, now I got to make those login cards because these kids don't know how to log in without their login card. And I'm like, man, and it's like, it's not something I can do right away, so I have to have it made before class starts. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so I'm thankful too. I don't have to deal with that. I also didn't. Our principal said we could have sent the devices home for the kids, and I'm like, they're not gonna do anything with it, school wise. So it's like, no, I'll leave it at home where I'll leave it at school, I should say, where I can keep track of it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
So it wouldn't come back in the same condition either.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do our social media plug, and then we'll be back in December.
Let's see if I can get it this time. So we got Choey and Jan, Choey, the letter N, Jan. We're on X, Facebook, Threads, Instagram. Fudgemania, dude. Am I missing?
Yeah, the one you always forget.
TikTok.
I
thought I said it. I didn't. No, you're right. I didn't say that one. And before I started, I was like, I need to make sure I remember because there's and I was like, I'm missing one.
And one of the things I'm doing today is I'm putting these episodes back on YouTube. They're like, I'll get this one scheduled for YouTube.